CFA Nation, Gabe,
Nick,
and we are here today to bring you another installment of R3 Wickets. Oh,
I forgot R3 Wickets. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a Cricket Combos or R3 Wickets. I kind of had a brain fart there, and I literally I froze. It's like the butt fumble, right? You just didn't know what to do. I just absolutely froze right there.
I don't know what to do. And, it makes sense because we've been talking about doing a Cricket Combos about honestly, two of the people that specifically from this match. So I've been talking to Nick about that the last few days. So it could be a little bit of both, R3 Wickets or Cricket Combos. But the people have seen it. So you got to make it happen. So let's try it again. Another installment of R3 Wickets. There you go. I mean, this to me was one of the reasons. This to me, I'm sorry. And I know I'm rocking the Australia hat. But this is why I love Test. This is why I love Test cricket. This game here is why Test cricket can't die, bro. I mean, just thinking about it, I'm getting goosebumps. And honestly, this game had no business ending the way it did. I'm so excited to talk about this. But bottom line, after scoring 416, having their most dominant start, okay, in the Ashes thus far, it looked like it was dead and over. It looked like England was buried. Everybody was getting fired. Silverwood out the house, bro. It was bad. All the announcers are talking smack, and it took a couple of English products that are also part of the what we were talking about, Cricket Combos. These players that are not beloved by their own coaches for some reason. It's like they're part of the island of the misfit toys. But it took them to save them from total annihilation, and somehow, Nick, some way, it's just like Cinderella Man, right? Braddock beating Max Baer. It's just like, again, we just recently saw the movie 83, right? India beating the West Indies. It's like, it happens in sports, man. How did England draw this game? I can't understand it.
Let me start off by saying I was on the stream and it's being a baby, right? I was so angry at how this Ashes has gone, and it's not competitive. It hasn't been thus far until now. And I said, I don't care if they draw. It's not going to mean anything. Let me take it back. I was a little, hyperbolic there with that statement. A draw definitely means a whole lot. In the context of this series, it's still, it's over, baby. It's over. Australia's got this in the bag as far as the series, the Ashes, all that kind of stuff. But with the way they've been getting slapped around, talking about England, to be able to outlast, and I don't know, I could be wrong. I don't think rain played a part yesterday, and if it did, it was for a short time because I was watching it throughout the match. Okay? But they were able to they went 102 overs, and let me tell you, I'm going to skip right to the end real quick because you already mentioned the draw. I was watching the two final overs, ball for ball, because I was watching it throughout. I had to go to bed, wake up early for a church meeting, but I couldn't take my eyes off those last 14 or last 12 balls because it was so nerve-wracking. You had Broad, and then you had Anderson, and Anderson didn't see a ball come into the last over. And I'm like, oh, I can see it. And who did Australia go with? They went to SPZ, right?
Baby.
One of their best batsmen as a bowler going against one of England's best bowlers as a batsman. I mean, it was the upside down or something like that. And those balls, I don't care if you're an England fan or Australia fan, you can see even the players on the sidelines, like Stokes had his shirt over his head. He couldn't watch. Australia was nerve-wracked. Those were some of the most exciting moments in cricket, and not one run was scored. Not one wicket was taken. Anderson, my hat goes off to you because even though you only had to outlast the 6 balls, I mean, he was a pro. Every single one, Australia's ready to celebrate. Oh, crap. I mean, it was so much fun, and you're right. This is why Test is amazing. You do not get that moment. You do not get that moment in any other format because it's not about the win or the loss. It's about the draw and just outlasting enough balls. It was so much fun.
Nick, it's a thing of beauty. It was a thing of beauty. And, as an Australia fan, I told you I was concerned, and I was concerned not going back to this innings, okay? Let's go back. And I guess we're going to do a little bit of both. R3 Wickets, Cricket Combos, doesn't matter. But this game changed to me, twice on its head. It got flipped, right? because England came in to bang, and Australia lost some quick wickets, right? David Warner went down. So did Marcus Loveschant went down, and it looked like, okay, this is going to be the time. This is going to be the game for Australia to come and win. It looked like they could get England. England could get Australia out for under 300. But then my man Uzi in that first inning stepped up, Nick. And I guess we're going to talk about what we liked. We're all over the place, guys. It's not normal format. But this game was this amazing, okay? What did I like? I like that Uzi, after 2 years being banned, being in exile, after not seeing tests, by the way, the last time was during the Ashes, where he put up a $141 against England, all right? A $171 before that. Like, this guy Uzi, when I fell in love with him in the show, The Test, because he was out there battling for his, all right, to help retain those Ashes, comes out in this match, and in that first innings, Nick, and I wanted to be exactly correct, it was Warner, Harris, and Loveschant had all gone for under 100. 30, 38, and 28. It was ugly, cousin. It was ugly. And it was like, okay. Smudge did a little bit better, but that's when he actually had his partnership with Kawaj. But people are thinking, what is Kawaj going to give after being exiled for 2 years? They don't believe in him. That's why they put Travis Head ahead of him. That's why they put in Marcus Harris ahead of him. You know what Kawaj did? A $137, daddy! A $137! Putting in work, all right? Dude, his celebration, he did the LeBron James out there. His wife was holding the baby. It was insane. The whole crowd felt it. Nick, it was so amazing because the Patty Cummings, right, is right before T. Everybody wants him to get to that century before T. Patty Cummings hits a boundary, and the crowd is booing him. Then at the end of an over, he hits a single and retains the strike, and the crowd is like booing him. And Kawhi is just laughing. Cool as a cucumber. He's like, it's okay, Skip. Last over before T. All right, Patty Cummings, you could tell, is trying to get off strike. He almost wants to throw away his wicket just to get off strike, honestly. And he gets the single. Bro, they cheered it louder when Patty Cummings got the single and was able to give Kawhi the strike with 3 balls remaining than everything. The crowd went nuts. You saw the smile on Patty Cummings' face. And then Kawhi comes in. No, not waste any time. Gets his boundary. Everybody goes nuts, bro. I was feeling it. I texted you that night. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm watching it live. I had to call out. Take a lunch break in order to watch it live, bro. And then England was done, bro. England was decimated. It was over. Kawhi could not do wrong. And what else did I like? Because I'm all over the place, Nick. Because these are the 2 moments that this match changed. The other island of a misfit toy. The other unwanted. The guy that couldn't get 2 test matches thus far. The guy that they hate Stuart Broad. Stuart the Nightmare Broad. The first game of the year after they came back from quarantine, Stuart Broad was left off the side when they played the West Indies, and guess what? England lost that match. And Stuart Broad comes in and takes Kawaj's wicket, takes Patty Cummings' wicket. My man Stuart Broad had a fifer in that inning and said, no, not like this. You guys aren't going to come over in here and bully us around, not on my watch. Nick, that's what I loved about this. So many other things to love, but the 2 guys that have been under the most controversy, the 2 guys that everybody tells me, Gabe, you love them way too much, came in and held court, cousin, and really both tried to take away this game from the other team. It was amazing. It was a sight to behold, bro.
The thing that is unfortunate for you is, as an Australia fan, it's too bad you're not an Uzi fan, because if you had called us beforehand, it would have looked a lot more impressive. I've been calling for Uzi to come in. I've been calling for JL's job just because he's been leaving my man Usman out. And once again, I'm looking a little smarter today.
Of course you are.
Gabe has been shouting from the rooftops. It's unbelievable. This guy got 2 centuries in this match. The one chance he had, a little bit on that from Saganisha on Instagram, sent us that the players that got 10 test centuries since 2015, Uzi's on that list, and he's got the 4th highest innings per 100 rate. At about every 6 innings, he gets 100. He just doesn't get too many opportunities. This guy, him, Steve Smith, and David Warner are the Australians on that list. But his was absolutely phenomenal. It's my favorite story of the match, even though there's lots of compelling stories. But you give me an Usman for that first innings, I'm going to raise you a Bairstow. Because Bairstow, Bairstow, how dare you skip your audition for the new Harry Potter? But good thing you did, because this guy, talk about storyline. You mentioned Australia's 416. England has gotten destroyed so much that they don't know any other position but the bend over position, for crying out loud. And they come in after that first inning of 416. And England, what do? After Australia gets 416? Six. Crawley 18, Milan 3, and Root a duck.
His second duck of the year, by the way, Nick. Second duck of the year for Root. Holy cow. In the Ashes, he's had 2 ducks.
36 for 4 when Milan goes down. Now, Stokes had a nice little innings. It would have been even better if he could extend, even though he got 66, but you're chasing 416. So Stokes started to get things settled, but then Bairstow came in. When they were looking at 36 for 4, oh my goodness gracious, that partnership and Bairstow, because he got more runs, he lasted a lot longer, was a thing of beauty. That, for me, besides the Usman 2 centuries coming, how are you going to top it besides Bolin? That, for me, for the England side, was the greatest thing that I saw, because he put the team on his shoulder. He was getting beat up, for crying out loud. Those guys that in test, you want to last about 200 balls? Oh, you're going to get beat up. And he was able to outlast, and he was able to calm things down, because you know Australia's going to score at least 250 in the next innings. It's not a chance they're not going to. And he was able to calm things down, get England to 294 at the end of their first innings, not be down by a bazillion, be able to extend it, because if you don't do that, if he does not see his 158 balls, then you're not having this Anderson and Broad face off just a few more overs and drawing this match. So from an England perspective, that was one of, if not the biggest thing that happened. And then he put himself a nice little second innings. It wasn't Usman territory, but he gave himself, what was it, 41 off 105. Again, saw a lot of balls when it was all about outlasting, and that was something that I loved. I'm just going to mention Australia because you mentioned England. On the Australia side, I mean, Usman is like the easiest thing, right? And I know you're probably going to mention more about this guy. There's so much to like from the Australia side. If I was an Australia fan, I'd be feeling really good about myself. You got the captain Cummins, who has not skipped a single beat since he's been the captain. Like, there's no question. Is he the right guy for this? He is the captain right now. You had Green really, really doing well. You had Lyon, wickets behind economy rate. But what I really want to mention was Bolin. I don't know much about Bolin. I still don't know too much about Bolin. But in that first innings, he was able to get himself 4 wickets in the economy rate of 2.5. And in that second innings, 3 wickets, an economy rate of 1.2. I mean, this guy, don't ever go to his house for Halloween, because you ain't getting nothing, my friend. Not even getting pennies or anything, because this guy is the stingiest person ever, and a guy that we were told only MCG, only because of injuries. He's gotten 7 wickets in this match after getting a 7 for. You got to consider this guy a little more. And he's not going to replace Hazelwood, but man alive, they just got some more depth there, and that was impressive to see. Those are the things that I loved from this match. You know,
to kind of piggyback on what you talked about, Scott Bolin there, I thought this guy was new. I was like, oh, the young guy. I even mentioned that in the video. They're like, Gabe, he's been around for a while. He's 32 years old. I was like, what? Like, how come he doesn't get... He can't get a sniff. He can't get a sniff. He's buried behind the Mitchell Starks and the Hazelwood. There's so much talent, too. You know what I mean? And they're like, he's just an MCG product. Somebody forgot to tell Sydney that, because my man was holding court out there, cousin. Oh, man. Nice. I was so happy to see that, and I'm glad you mentioned him, Nick. You know, I tell you what, there was so much to like on the Australia side, and you're right. I got to give Johnny Bairstow credit. I'm glad you mentioned Johnny Bairstow, because I always crack on him. Bairstow, let's be real. The guy's got so much talent. He just doesn't have the discipline. But, Nick, I saw Bairstow go through 2 overs and defend. You don't ever see that. But that's what you need in tests. Like, I'll wait you out. And now that he's shown that, a $158, you can't luck your way into seeing 158 balls. What are you kidding me? it wasn't just that he scored the 100th, but the fact that he scored a real test 100 and he showed patience. I got to tip my cap to Bairstow, even though he's still on the Sinister Six. All right, because now he makes me look dumb. He makes you look wrong as bar. I can't believe Jihan hasn't sent me my Bairstow's trash on Twitter or whatever. But Bairstow proved he is not trash. Oh, I hate him even more now. You know, with that being said, I'm gonna go to what I hate, Nick. What I hate was that after the first opportunity for England, where they got rid of Rory Burns, who I would then saying Rory Burns is just, I hate the way he bats. It's ugly. And I know what we're going to say. He's the leading scorer. Well, that's because he gets the most innings too. If you get to play, obviously you're going to be the leading scorer amongst all your openers, I should say. But Zach Crawley, I gave up after him after that one match. Like, you get your opportunity and this is what you give us, Crawley? Oh gosh, go to Milan, go to somebody else. I wanted anybody else because to me it ain't the answer either. It's just bad. But Crawley came out and showed, and I had given up on him too early, Nick. So I'm eating crow here. What did I hate? I hated Zach Crawley. And the fact that I knew I saw talent there, but I kind of let one match really sway. And I do that all the time, obviously, recency bias. But I let one match kind of sway me. But the thing I hated the most, and now I'm going to get crushed by Australia fans, be honest with yourself. Things had to happen for this to end up being a draw. Patty Cummins made his first mistake, Nick. Bottom line. As captain, Patty Cummins made his first mistake. Because did the weather come into play? Yes. It could have come even more into play. At least they got the opportunity to get the wickets. But what happened? Since they lost some time that day to rain, and they, I think it was after the lunch break or after tea break.
You're going to call him out for this one, huh?
I have to. I got to. So what happens? What did Patty Cummins do? He lost 3 overs, I believe, of pace because it got too dark. There wasn't enough light. So they said, no, only spinners. So that forced Patty Cummins to say, okay, what am I going to do now in these last 6 overs? And what did he do? He went with spinners. He put in Smudge. Okay, Smudge got himself a wicket. I went nuts.
He got a wicket.
Smudge got the wicket, bro. I went nuts.
He used to be a bowler, so I love that.
He started off as a bowler. Yeah, you're right. And I went nuts. And I was like, is Patty still going to do it? But even if it had ended that way, Nick, he did lose 3 overs to light because of the rain delay. And the minute, and I mean the minute, okay, that in that second overs, Kawaj got his century, and one of those 2 guys got out. It was Kawaj. Kawaj got a century. They were waiting for Jack Leach to get his century, which he ended up getting a half century in England's second innings. But I mean, in Australia's, I should say, second innings. But the minute that Jack Leach was out, there's not another milestone to reach. And I know it was only a few balls, but there was no reason. That there is when you absolutely declare.
Balls could have been the difference.
Okay? Those couple balls could have been the difference. People called me out on it. They said, Gabe, the highest chase ever at SCG was 288. You didn't need 370, Patty Cummins. This is what a real fan is. You got to be able to hold people accountable, Nick, when they do the job well and then when they do it poorly. And so thus far, everything's been rosy for Patty Cummins, the captain, right? He's been out there. He's been bowling well. He's been calling the right number. Even bringing in Smudge, some people would argue that was the right thing because he got himself a wicket. But this should have been a win for Australia. And if you save maybe 10 more overs on that first day and declare earlier, I mean, the minute that and did I say Jack Leach? Wow, well, I lost myself. Not Jack Leach. Cameron Green. The minute Cameron Green had went down because he got a 50, and they're like, oh wow, now he's in the 70s. Can he get to a century? But the minute he lost his wicket, there's no reason for anyone else to see any other balls, Nick. There was no reason for it almost put was it Jack Leach or I forgot who ended up getting him in a position to get a 3-fer. It might have been Mark Wood. I can't remember who it was that ended up getting him.
It was Leach.
Right? He got back-to-back.
Actually, he got 2. Yeah.
So it's declare right there. Declare right there. And I get it. It was for him trying to be a player's coach. You feel good for Usman. You want him to get that century. Cameron Green is the future. Now we see bowling with the bat why everybody loves him as the next all-rounder, right? He's going to be Ben Stokes' light for Australia, but it was a mistake. He ran out of time. He ran out of overs. He knew there was weather. Sorry, I have to call him out with it. That's what I didn't like. Nick, what didn't you like?
there was a lot I still did not like. I'm not going to try to say it's all sunshine and rainbows. And although I like the tenacity of some of the players, I did not like the fact that there still is not a full performance from this England side. The closest thing was outlasting yesterday and getting to that draw. That was the closest thing, because who I'm going to crush in just a second, Joe Root. Sorry, we're bringing back the Joe Root hate in a second. This guy was chosen by Ricky Ponting as his best test batsman in the world right now. Ricky Ponting of Australia, he must be regretting himself. And I know it's not how cricket works, not after 1 or 2 matches, but Joe Root, he can't do a half century every match. I get that. I understand that. But this guy gave you 24 runs. When your team had 564 runs and he hit every single one of those runs, every single one of those balls, just to get to a draw right here, you're the best test. And this is what I get on Kohli for. This is why I have no friends, Gabe. If you're the captain of the squad, if you're the best batsman by a mile on your team, is there anyone even close to Joe Root on England? Is there anyone even close to Virat Kohli consistency-wise on India? No. To the point where Virat Kohli is still one of the best batsmen in the world, and everyone, including myself, has called him trash in the last year and a half because he's just not on that insane level. When you're the captain, when you're the best batter, you've got to lead by example. And if I'm going to crush Kohli, a guy that I'm a huge fan of, you know I'm going to crush Joe Root, who's maybe looked very, very foolish at times. I'm not calling that his career is over. I'm not saying he's garbage or trash, but this is just pathetic. He has got to do a little better. And I'm going to ask the question. Does he need to consider maybe giving the captaincy to someone else so he can focus on continuing to be the number 1 batsman in the world? I don't see the tenacity. I don't see the fire. I don't see what I need to see. And if you're not going to contribute 24 runs, he did get a wicket, I believe, which he does bowl. He does have that. But I was very, very frustrated about that because you have a batting side that can't do too much. Don't even get me started on Hamid. I've been crushing this kid, and because he's younger, I'm going to lay off. Because it's the asses in Australia, you're either built to play in Australia, Uzi, Bairstow, or you're not. And right now, Hamid looks like he's not. I'm not going to crush the kid because I've said enough about him. I'm not happy about where he's at. Joe Root's not a kid. Joe Root's the captain. Joe Root knows that he has Ben Stokes, who showed some life in this match, thank goodness, and he's got Milan around him. He's got to anchor it somewhat. And my gosh, I didn't want to get started on Butler. There's something going on with Butler. I know he got injured at some point in this match, but he was not helpful whatsoever. You had a bunch of guys not show up, and England still showed some grit. Imagine what could have happened if everyone, or 80%, 90%, decided to show up. They even had a tail in that first innings, for crying out loud. There's some teams in Test India that has no sign of a tail in, for crying out loud. So that's the thing I'm really, really frustrated about. And let me see, is there anything I'm frustrated on the England side? I don't really know. I would say Steve Smith has not really impressed me too much in this match. He got that nice wicket, and he still got a half century, right? He still got the 67, yeah.
Right.
He still got his 67, but he hasn't. I wonder, and this is a quick question I'm going to ask, is probably, again, going to bring me more hate. I wonder if Steve Smith, like a Virat Kohli, is on the decline, right? We've seen in T20, people say best T20. He's the best batsman in the world in Australia. Right. And maybe that's the problem. I keep hearing that phrase, Kohli, Root, and Smith. And Root has been some kind of tear. He's still in that realm. But it feels like Smith is not Smith-like, if that makes sense. Even though he's gotten a few half centuries in this Ashes. That's just something to pose out there. You can answer that. You can the comment section answer that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But that is mostly what I did not like was Joe Root, and then I don't know what Hamid and Butler are doing.
I'm glad you brought up the Joe Root conversation, because this is going to lead us into what we learned. And this was going to be what the cricket combos was going to be about, guys. Okay, so we're going to kind of like mesh the two here. Here's the thing, Nick. There is drama going on, okay? There's all this stuff going on behind the scenes about Root and Silverwood, and Root not fighting for Stuart Broad to get in the side. The bad decisions that England has made, only going with Pacers, not bringing a spinner for that pink ball match in what was it, the second match, and not going with any pacers at the GABA, right? No Broad, no Jimmy Anderson, and it's just one of those things where you could tell right now that Root is the captain. He's got to be the loudest voice in the room. Yeah, I get it. There's selectors there, but ultimately, it's on your shoulders. I remember in the movie 83, Kapil Dev goes to Benny and tells him, I fought for you. I had to go and make sure that you got on this side. And if that's your guy, they fight for you. Stuart Broad was quoted as saying, listen, no, the bowling is not the problem. We're getting wickets. We got to score runs. So that's directly criticizing the batsman. And the fact that all this stuff is getting out, Nick, Silverwood to me has lost this team. All right. And I don't know if Joe Root, because of that, or the lack of not fighting for his guys, has some. There's nobody in the world that could tell me Stuart Broad should be left off the amount of times he does. Okay, Stuart Broad is very vocal about it. I need to be out there. How does Jimmy Anderson at 39 get more innings than Stuart Broad? Are you serious? At 39, Jimmy Anderson, and I'm not criticizing Jimmy Anderson. He's a GOAT as well. But if you're talking about rest, let's be honest, who needs more rest, the 39-year-old or the 35-year-old? Stop it. Stop it. All right, it's garbage, it's drama, and sometimes these players, I get it. Uzi, same thing. Somebody was like, well, Uzi's in the position he is because he didn't buy into JL's program, and, he needs to get with the program. JL's a coach. No, sometimes coaches need to get with the program. Right now in the NFL, the biggest talk is the Antonio Brown situation, where the coach came out and tried to lie and said, I didn't know his ankle was injured. Oops, Bruce Arians, you send a text, you idiot. All right, guess what? That's documentation, all right? You knew his ankle was injured. You tried to send him out there on an injured ankle. Now, am I justifying what Antonio Brown did? No. But what I'm telling you is the same thing, the Tom Brady breakup with Bill Belichick, Nick. Sometimes these head coaches, they just get so in themselves that they do not do what's in the best interest of the team. You cannot tell me leaving Stuart Broad off England is what's in the best interest for this team. Stop it. You don't believe that, Silverwood. You know you don't. Same thing. JL, you know you don't believe leaving Uzi off is the best. But they don't want to do things your way. They're vocal. They talk in the media, whatever it is. Then I'm going to punish you. And are we here to win games? Or are we here to teach moral lessons? All right. Are we here to get people to buy into our philosophies? And to me, that's what I've learned about this, Nick, that unfortunately these players, you could throw Bairstow in that. These are the guys that won the game. Nobody has mentioned one word that, Jimmy Anderson, and it's funny, they call him Mr. No-Out, Nick. He's got the most no-outs than any man in cricket history. Now, that's what the broadcaster said. I didn't research it myself, but that's what the broadcaster says. Jimmy Anderson's Mr. No-Out, but he only had to survive 2 overs. Stuart Broad was in there like it was like 8 overs, 10 overs plus, bro. Defend. Like, I'm not going down. I'm not giving up my wicket. For a guy that gets left off, that's not passion. All right? Led the team taking wickets, that's not passion. There should be no reason Stuart Broad get left off. And to me, that's poor coaching and poor captaincy, in my opinion. That's what I learned.
As far as what I learned on this match is, I didn't learn too much. Australia is still the more dominant side. England is still struggling immensely. They were able to show some heart. They were able to take advantage of some strategic mistakes here and there by Australia. But it's really, really tough to say that England, and it's not a tie, it's a draw. But it's really, really tough to say England won a lot of moral victories when the other side declared twice. They had to strategically plan around your inability to get them out the bowling side. Now, Broad got 5 wickets in the first inning, so I'm not blaming him. But they had to plan around that, and because a declaration happened, or because a guy that everyone loves is close to a century, that may have got in the way of the decision-making. It's kind of unfortunate. But England, some of the players were able to show a whole lot of passion, a whole lot of tenacity, but this team is still in disarray. These players, for some reason, don't have the team chemistry to be able to put together a match that they can win. The Australia side, they look like they like each other. And I don't know if that's true. I don't really care. It looks that way. They have the chemistry. They were there. Every single one of those 11 guys was cheering for Nathan Lyon and then Steve Smith to get that final wicket. Not just because they wanted to win that Ashes match, because I believe that they have that chemistry together and all of that kind of stuff. Where's the jail praise on that? I don't know. But England does not really look like they have the chemistry. We've already touched on it before. That's the main thing I learned. It's a great moral victory. It's better than losing yet again. But I really feel like they had an opportunity or two in this match to get that win, and they just weren't able to do it.
Here's my question. Let's put the coach on you, because I don't want this decision. You're the coach. You're Joe Root. Okay, you're Patty Cummings. You got some decisions coming up, and I want to know in the chat, but I want to put this on Nick. Australia, right? You're JL and you're Patty Cummings. How do you sit Uzi after what, 238 runs? By the way, the last 101 was not out
in a million years.
So who you sitting? Travis Head, who also was out because of COVID, but he put up a $121 in the last, or 122 in his last inning. The first or Marcus Harris, who finally gave you that 77. It is a tough decision. I'm not gonna lie, but who do you put in? And then Mr. MCG only 32-year-old rookie. I thought the guy was a rookie. Scott Boland. How do you sit him down after two performances like this? Because Hazelwood's ready to go.
I don't sit him either. And let me tell you, now this is going to be my inability to understand pitches. I don't know the pitches in Australia. I don't know how similar they are to the MCG or the SCG or the XYZ. I have no idea, okay? But if the pitch is anything similar, and the pink ball does play a huge role, has Boland ever played pink ball at any format?
That's a good question.
I'm sure Hazelwood has. I think he did in India. So that kind of, but let's assume that it's the pink ball's not a factor, which is a huge factor. Boland's coming off two impressive performances in 2 matches that he's played. Hazelwood's been out for injury. I'm sure I know he's a veteran, all this kind of stuff. We've seen what Hazelwood's got. But this might be Boland's only chance. And he's playing really, really well. And England just showed some life. I don't want to take my foot off their throat. I'm putting Boland in there. I'm putting Usman in there. If that means that Harris is gone, whatever. You can have Warner, and you can have oh man, who's the other opener they have? You got to have an opener to go with Warner at the beginning.
You can
but
put
they can
Uzi
find someone to do that.
Uzi can open. You can put Uzi up there.
Okay, I didn't know that. There you go.
All
That's
right.
even easier right there. I put in Usman because there's no reason not to.
Let's go back to another question I want to ask you, Coach Silverwood. Now you're Coach Silverwood. Stuart Broad faced 35 deliveries. Some of your openers don't see 35 balls, Mr. Silverwood, and helped you draw this match out because he was the last of the Mohicans up there with Jimmy Anderson, all right? 35 deliveries. He also got you a 5-wicket haul. Great economy rate. But you guys love employing this ridiculous, supposedly rest policy, okay? Jimmy Anderson is going to retire. This is it. This was the last time MCG sees him. So more than likely, if this is going to be his last hurrah, his last Ashes, I think you got to put Jimmy Anderson in there because this will be his last time in the Ashes. He's a legend in and of itself. I think the game deserves that. So are you dropping Mark Wood? Who are you leaving out? Are you going with the same, or are you going to go with the same ridiculous rest rotation if you are Silverwood? What is your best chance to win? What team do you want to put out there?
Oh, I'm definitely putting Broad back in there unless there's some reason he can't go or there's some stinking rule that even I have no power over. And that's what I don't know. England is so religious to the rotation policy. It's not even funny. They can care less if it makes any sense. I don't know if that's above Silverwood's head. I have no idea where the buck stops with England cricket. I guess I should, but I don't. And that's being completely honest. But I have Anderson. I have Broad in there. I'm dropping Wood, and I'm putting in Wokes. Yes, I'm favorable to Wokes, absolutely. But Wokes did not play in this match. I don't know if he played in the last match. He's been rested, and it's pink ball. I think that's going to suit him a little better. Those are 3 I'd go with because even though Mark Wood fared well, right? He got 2 wickets, had a higher economy rate in that first innings, and then he got 1 wicket and a decent economy rate in the first inning. He didn't blow me away like a Boland did, who secured that spot. So I'm throwing a Wokes in there. He's rested. Pink ball, it's like pink ball is like the upside down. You got to go unorthodox because it's such a different situation. That's what I'm doing. But I'm biased to Chris Wokes. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
I just don't know if there's almost something in Silverwood's contract. It seems like you have to respect the Stuart Broad rotation policy. I have no idea.
And Chris Silverwood, if you're listening, please, oh please, bring a spinner. Remember the last pink ball match where you went with all Pacers? Please, Jack Leach finally broke out of his shell. He got, what, 4 wickets in this match? 4 or 5 wickets in this match total? You better bring back Jack Leach now that he's finally looking decent. But, guys, those are my thoughts. Those are, I'm sure, Nick's thoughts. Maybe you want to add anything else there, brother?
Just that you're crazy. But other than that, I'm good.
You know I'm crazy. You know I'm crazy. But those are our thoughts. We want to know about your thoughts. I mean, to me, the first match was amazing. The third match, when the Australia retained the Ashes, it was almost like lackluster because it was such a... But this match was so exciting, Nick, because, again, it came down to the last 2 or 3 overs, and you got the 2 English legends, bowling legends, but the game's on the line, and they got bats in their hands. They got bats in their hands. And on the other side, it's a batting legend now in Steve Smith. Australia's one of the greatest batting batters they produced, one of the greatest batters in the world today, and he's got a ball in his hand. I mean, does it get any better than that, Nick? I mean, dude, I still got goosebumps just thinking about it right now, brother.
It was absolutely fantastic. It was great to watch. And I'm just looking it up real quick. As far as test wickets, if this is updated, I'm not sure. He's got 18 total test wickets. So we saw something crazy there, too, with him getting that test wicket in that second innings. Like Gabe said, let us know. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Check out some other videos that we have on the channel. And until next time.
We know all things.